it's a bit improvised, so forgive us. But I would love to call some of you that are really, really experienced, like Anand. I know that you have been mentoring a lot. Pedro as well, I think Paolo as well, and you know as well the Demium ecosystem. And in this case, you can provide some tips about how to mentor tech startups from the business side. At the end, what we were going to do today is not one-on-one mentoring with a person. In this case, like helping them with the career ladder, helping them with the challenges they face on their role, but rather more like an advisory, like tech advisory about what you know, about your experience with the product, about how to deliver the right tech strategy, or tips about when to hire, which roles to hire, in which channels to hire. So these entrepreneurs can really go straight to the point, can save some money, can save some time that is really precious in these first stages. So here we have a balance between different mentors, and I would love you to really jump in, open mic, Paolo, Anand, Pedro, whoever that wants to participate. Eduard has been mentoring for a while as well. So just feel free to jump into the conversation, and then for all the rest of you, Bruno, you will have the turn now. But you can just use the chat to provide questions to us, to provide a topic, to raise the hand to participate with these reactions from Zoom, and this way we can have the session going. Bruno.
Thank you very much, Alvaro. Just to let everybody know that thank you very much for your attendance. Sorry for a little bit for the delay here in the engagement. We have some entrepreneurs here that you should at least know who they are, just in terms of like breaking the ice, because we had like a little bit of confusion using AirMeet. But we have here Vitas and Fede from FitStack. It's a very interesting company in terms of PIN. We have here Podder with Andres. That's a very interesting in ad advertising, especially for podcasts. We have here Edgar Gago, that is from Nui, as a very high-end technology-based hiring machine. We have here Nicolas, that is on ideation phase, breaking the ecosystem in terms of NFTs and blockchain. We have also Mercedes, that belongs to Glex, that is like a company for expats. They are creating services to support immigration. And then we have Raymond, that is on supply chain, especially for cold chain, but also figuring out what is the real situation in this beautiful market. So really, really thank you for that, especially for Lidr to be supportive on even on the high risk situation. Thank you very much for the mentors, and please let's start here talking about what is business.
Let's make it interactive. Please drop any question you may have about this topic now. We are open here. We are here to learn, to teach. So any question you have about the mentoring process from the business perspective, you entrepreneurs that Bruno has presented right now, you may have questions about what we can deliver. You may have questions that maybe are general, like, okay, my question more from a business perspective is, where can I hire a CTO? Or is it right approach to hire a CTO from the beginning, or should we go with kind of CTO as a service consultancy with a more experienced mentor, a more experienced CTO that we pay by the hour? Any question you may have about mentoring in this certain situation, which is early stage startups, and for you guys that guys and girls that wants to really jump into mentoring for personal branding, to give back to the community, for any kind of reason, you can have the questions answered today with some great mentors. So please, the stage is yours. I don't want to take the time, so jump in.
So maybe guys, I will start just to understand a little bit the dynamic of this meeting, because I think it could be great to have like an overview of the teams. We had the pitch, description, at least the like unique value proposition of every group. Maybe I would give some space to the companies if they want to jump in, and maybe there we can make some questions just to like ask them what's their product roadmap, etc. If they feel comfortable with it.
Early.
Go Vitas.
Hello, everyone. So as Bruno mentioned, so my name is Vitas, together with my co-founder Federico. He's in this chat as well. At this point, we're still in ideation phase, and we're thinking about like a product information management platform for multi-channel commerce. Otherwise, it's called like PIM. So essentially, I assume that most of technical people know what kind of thing it is, but summarizing, it just basically build like a source of truth for product data management. And after this, so basically we collect that data from CRM, CSV, ERP, etc. We push the feed stack. In the feed stack, we optimize, distribute, and analyze that data, let's say, enrich, whatever you want to call. And when we distribute in the marketplaces, web shops, apps, and point of sale. So essentially, the argument would be that product data is becoming more and more important, and more shopping channels are opening. So we assume that the need for this type of solution, especially in SMB, category, would be quite demanding, because existing, let's say, so most of existing solutions, they're mostly for enterprise level, and they are built for enterprise companies, and they price for enterprise companies. So this is in a nutshell what is a feedstock. In terms of like what would be interesting to get from this conversation, obviously this is very, I would say, tech heavy solution, and we're still working on a roadmap or on a features based, etc. So what we would look is let's say a second look in a let's say software architecture or logic how everything should be built, because I think this is would be the most challenging point in terms of a product development, because essentially we would like to build like a scalable solution that would be reasonably built properly since the beginning, because I assume that later even would be more complicated because we manage a lot of data from the customers, etc. So in a nutshell, this is a feed stack, and this is our expectations. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, I thanks, Vitas, for sharing all of that information. So just so I understand, are you curious about how to build this a scalable solution, or are you also wondering about what features to build in terms of, have you had conversations with SMBs in terms of what is their current data pipeline looks like? Like, do they have these setups? Because I'm assuming you will need to have a lot of integrations with other data providers or whatever services they are using, in terms of making sure like it is seamless for the SMBs who do not have that technical expertise. Enterprise teams have some contextual know-how of the product, but for them, it needs to be maybe just drag and drop or sort of a dashboard that they just kind of things happen magically behind the scenes actually. So are you curious about what to build, or are you past that and now just wondering how to build the feature set that you have?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, by the way, a very good question, but essentially we're in ideation phase. So meaning that we're still trying to get customer interviews. So trying to get in contact with, at this point, with e-commerce managers or category managers, marketplace managers, and try to start from this point. But essentially, in terms of the features, we kind of more or less have perception based on our existing competitors, specifically for SMB vertical, especially for retail. So we kind of have a point of view. However, what we would like, let's say, by nature, if we're talking about startup, it should bring something new to the market. Let's say from one point is like something new from the technical point of view. So we're kind of looking. What we're looking like, basically what needs to be as a base functionality for the PIM, plus what we can bring, something like what maybe more or less enterprise level companies would afford, something to smaller segment, in this case SMB. But essentially we're still in the ideation phase, and when we can talk about how to build exactly. In terms of that, just to close the point, Federico already kind of draw like a let's say, I would not say like a software development plan, but what kind of integrations, what kind of tooling we would use, and more or less how it should work. But it's still a very high level because we're still in the stage like, okay, what features as a base we need and how we can prioritize that.
Got it. Perfect. I'll just close the loop on that and hand it over to the other folks there. But yeah, that's just kind of what I was getting at. Like, rather than us pushing that this is a differentiator, having the SMBs or our user personas tell us what would be a differentiator for them. Maybe the enterprise product is too complex. Maybe it's a lot of features. So we don't want to probably be a feature factory. It's just use the KISS principle for them in terms of what is that one thing you're really struggling in terms of your data articulation, and then using that as differentiator, that we do everything that you need, but in a really simple way with just two things actually. So just wanted to like consider us flipping the messaging in terms of the market telling us our differentiator versus us pushing our differentiator to the market actually.
Just if I may, like just 30 seconds more. So essentially what our one of the differentiators, how I said, like would be is related that I said it would be tailored for SMB. And one of the things, what I mean by this tailoring, by offering base pricing and flexible features through add-ons. So basically what we're talking as a base, we have like PMI plus digital asset management. So basically we have for the base pricing, let's say in this case, let's say 250 billed annually per month. And then when you want to start a plan, you can buy add-ons, meaning like for multi-channel capabilities, you buy like a specific like add-on. For brand portals, you buy specific add-on, and you buy for, let's say, product sheets, you buy specific add-on. So this is for the standard plan. So basically for argument for SMB would be, I use PME as a base stuff, and I add add-on that I need, and I pay per month. If I don't like, I just cancel.
Yeah.
And finally, if you have like a pro plan, everything is included essentially.
Perfect.
And the pricing around like
guys, sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, sorry.
I think we need to give some space to all the group.
Agree.
Yes, sorry.
We cannot go too deep, and don't focus too much.
Create a one-on-one.
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Sorry,
Try don't go too deep on solution. Maybe just on problems, you know.
Exactly. We need
Just
to make it generic. Yeah.
Hey Andres, can you tell a little bit about podcasting and the situations you are facing?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I was talking with my co-founder about podcasting and podcast stuff. You know, yes. At the moment, we just got founded like 2 months ago, and now we are in this situation that we have to decide what we are going to do at the moment. We had it very clear when we presented the fund that we want to create a marketplace where you can filter by some criteria, and we will display what best podcasts fit that criteria. But now we have been talking with so much people on the field that we are not so sure that our initial thought is what we intend to do. And for this matter, we need a really good expert or a really CTO on demand or a tech lead, depending how you call it, that knows a little bit about ad tech to guide us a little bit and how we can process all this information, because in the podcast world, you will have to create a lot of APIs to connect with a lot of different hosting providers, because it's not like YouTube or Instagram that you can have just one API to connect to Facebook or whatever. So you have to connect to Spreaker, to Anchor, I don't know, to tons and tons of different places, and each one of these places consume and create this data in different formats. So we have to establish like some parameters to present to the companies, and this company can select the podcaster by this type of data. So the first question should be: we should have a tech lead. We should have a really good question that at the beginning of this conversation was: shall we give some equity to a programmer Messi on the ad world? Should we hire a tech lead until we find this upcoming CTO? What should we do? What are your opinions? If there are any questions about it.
Hello, Andres. I am one of the mentors, and I was picked up for your product. So it's really interesting because podcasting is growing very fast right now. So I've been in the AgTech for the last 15 years or something like that. So I could maybe I could help you deeper in another meeting, but for sure, yeah, if you want to put you in a good position and differentiate with the other partners, you need someone who knows who manage the tech, because in this business, AgTech, the technology is everything. So as you said, you are very right, because you have to have a lot of integrations with a lot of different partners and mix everything with DSPs, SSPs, putting information in back with audio, measuring everything. So yes, for sure, you need a tech guy and giving a percentage, giving a fund research or whatever. It's a good idea for the beginning.
Which tech guy? Because they were mentioning tech lead, CTO, consultant CTO. Which is your approach here?
Maybe they can start with a consultant CTO. Maybe they can start because you have to I don't know how to say, to stay straight with the idea. When you have the idea, when you have the decision, we are going to create a DSP, for example, or we are going to put our I don't know, our back in all of the partners. Yes, it's the moment to hire a CTO. But for the beginning, you need to know what is your path.
So that's why we need a consultant CTO. So
for the
define
beginning,
this
yes,
really clear idea.
Defining what is going to do the further.
Do anyone?
I want to jump in because I already know Christian and Andres. I'm a little bit biased because I'm already talking with them, but I just I will repeat what I already said to them. That it's I think in this moment they are in a good position in which they've a kind of customer journey, ideal customer journey in their hand. They are ready. Found a way to sell their services by phone, like an agency model that is not scalable at all, but it's okay. So they are in the right position to like focus a little bit more on the market and try to solve a real problem, but they still don't know what is the problem to solve. So right now, maybe I'm agree with Pedro that a CTO, on-demand CTO or whatever, service CTO, interim CTO, whatever, is the right solution. But maybe they need to find someone that is already an expert in this field, because they raised some money, but it's not a big amount that will pay a good CTO. So definitely they can find a cheap, quick and dirty way to validate their idea with an expert, and then ask the expert to train maybe a junior profile. I think it's the best approach they can have in an early stage, because hiring someone in this stage, it's too expensive, and maybe they will train someone for a technology stack. They will lock in with a technology that is not the right solution for the problem. This is my 2 cents.
Totally agree, Paul.
Any last advice to Podder? I would like to move to Nui.
Next.
No. Thank you very much,
Hey,
Pablo and Pedro. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
All right. Hey, Edgar, how's going? Let's put you on the fire a little bit here, so we may take advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to pitch yourself there. Go ahead.
Well, this is great because I will have my opportunity to ask you some questions, because all of you are CTOs, and our business Nuvei is centered within the recruitment and IT sector. So I think that all of you will be able to give me some answers. And in a nutshell, what Nuvei is trying to do is to solve the interview or the tech interview problems that we have right now, because they're kind of boring and they are algorithm-centered questions, or kind of an exam that you have to give the candidates. And what we are trying to do is try to get a platform in order to gamify all of that, such as HackerRank or HackerAir does, but focusing on real problems. So the challenge, or what I think the challenge here is how to really automate the solving of how to check all the code automatically, both either if it's clean code, or if the person has correctly targeted the objective that we are proposing to them. Right now, at this moment, we are doing this manually using several softwares in order to check clean code, etc. And the objective, we are doing it manually, and also using testing. Also, I would like to ask
one by one, please.
Okay.
One by one. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess.
Okay.
So, any answer here?
If you know any tools or any kind of software that we could use in order to try to simplify this, could be great. Our initial approach was to try to clone the GitHub repository, create a virtual machine in a virtual machine, and try to pass all the different testing, and also try to pass Sonar Cloud or a software like that, and check whether it's clean and have error, etc., and all the objectives have been accomplished.
I think, let me start with this. I think it's a good idea for the beginning, but when you try to find some, let's say, more advanced skills from a developer, I think it would be more complex to find those kind of things. Let's say, for me, it's very important, the refactoring skills in a developer. And I think it's really difficult to deal with this kind of things with Sonar or static code analysis and those kind of things, or even testing, because if the code run and it's okay, and you don't have so much issues with clean code, it's okay. All the tests could be passed, but maybe it's not a good refactor in terms of the features or the functionality itself. So I think maybe you should try to go for some kind of machine learning thing, trying to detect let's say the links between the functions in the code and something like this, trying to guess what the developer tried to do with the code. But I think it could be very, very difficult to do that. I think it's for let's say phase 3 or 4, or more on the MVP. So I think for the beginning, it's okay to do those kind of things, and maybe just to create a service for code reviewing, so you can delegate to people and pay for the review just at the beginning, because you can get customers and you can start running the business and check how to automate these kind of things which are more difficult, and see where is the problem you need to automate already, with examples and those kind of things.
Paolo?
Yeah.
Your approach on that?
Guys, I want to add something. Maybe you're trying to find a solution to a problem that you are facing in your solution, but just think about, start on the customer problem. The customer problem is the lack of developers right now. So maybe just creating a good network of hackathons, as you wrote in your pitch, it's enough. You don't really need to automate anything software-wise. So maybe it's just being an event organizer for the company. Just create an hackathon with a real problem for a company, branded by a company. Everyone can join, everyone can make their solution, and it's just for the company to find the right skills on the candidates, and that's it. Nothing to automate, because as much as I know, all the people in software engineering hate the interview.
Yeah.
All the
Yes.
software interview, right?
Yes.
But we know that we love to program in an hackathon or whatever. So I don't think that automating something will solve a problem. It's solving a problem of your solution, not a problem of the market.
Yeah. No, the initial approach here was exactly that. I mean, was to just try to create a platform that is able to attract software developers and have it there, have them there. So companies can easily identify the user, and because they will know that they will be inside our challenges, hackathons, and events because they are cool. But we cannot somehow verify that they are, I mean, that they are good or they are the level that they are saying they are.
Maybe you can charge the company just to organize there are other ends. Sorry.
Just give a space to Jordi. I believe Jordi has the hand raised.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to say I agree with what Paolo was suggesting of building this platform of hackathons, and for the next problem, because I agree with him that this would be a stage 2 or a stage 3 problem to solve. I think that someone who has some experience and especially motivation for data science could help a lot in not necessarily using machine learning, but in extracting all the features that help you categorize the participants of your hackathon so that you can build, let's say, some kind of profiles of your participants, and I don't want to say sell, but offer to your customers the participants that fit better the characteristics that they need.
More of a matching algorithm. More of a matching algorithm for them.
Well, before the matching algorithm, you would need the data scientist to profile, to see what you can extract from all this data, because it's text data, it's very structured. They are very structured solutions. You need to, I don't know in detail how this would be done, but you would need someone who spends hours into looking at that and trying to extract how clean is the code, some metrics that help you realize how well documented it is, and all the, I don't know, all the features that you would need for your customers that they consider that are important, so that you can then rank your participants in different characteristics and offer them to your customers. And this, and I think that this is kind of what Paolo was suggesting, would allow you to already build a database of all these participants of your hackathons that maybe were not a match for one particular company, but could be a match for another. And you would have all these CVs and all this database to offer to other people.
Okay, so I would love to ask those junior mentors that are here today, if you have any question about how you can give this advice, or any tip about mentoring itself, not about the companies or the challenges of these companies today here, but more about the challenges of mentoring. I don't know, overcome the fear of starting, whatever it is. Please, your time as well.
Well, if you allow me, I would like to suggest something to Edgar. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So if your focus is on hackathons, why not turn the hackathons into a gamified event? Meaning the recruiters already have a budget to spend. Why don't they spare that budget with you, and you share that budget with the hackathon winners? So you share a challenge, they participate, they enroll, they get a solution, and then you just distribute it amongst the best. And then you can pass that data to the recruiters and say, okay, these are the ones that we find best for you. These are the second, third, and you just do whatever you want. That would be much easier for you to implement right out of the box, and it would give a very good incentive for developers to match their skills and at the same time get a reward. And if they would be interested in moving on with their careers, they could do so. If not, they would move on. But like this, I think everyone would win.
This is exactly what we are doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, we charge per hackathon.
So I wouldn't focus on the automatically testing the code. I don't think that would be very productive right now.
Shall we move on to another? Yeah.
Let's talk with Rory. Rory's from Valencia.
Hello, guys. Sorry, I was a little bit late joining, but everything I've seen has been really, really interesting. So thanks for that. I understand the format is that we have to provide a question. I don't have a question ready, but I'll talk about my company and then I'll see if you guys have some reactions to that. So I'm the CTO of Caltu. Caltu, we are in the incubation phase in Demium, Valencia. So we're going to be raising some money, hopefully in about 2 weeks' time. We aim to be a platform for marketplaces to manage their seller onboarding and payouts. So a marketplace has sellers that that provide the products. There are lots of solutions that deal with taking the money from the people who buy the products and putting it into the marketplace. There are much less solutions to do with the marketplaces then paying out to the sellers. They have lots of headaches about compliance. They have lots of headaches about tracking how much money do they owe to each seller. And then the payout process itself is often done in a way that's totally manual. People just comparing Excels and uploading stuff to the bank. I've got in my team someone who's come from the payments industry. She's the CEO, and she was leading on all of the customer interviews. So they've interviewed lots and lots of marketplaces, and they found this is really a problem. I joined this team about 1 month ago. This is a very challenging project, dealing with payments and finances and stuff. I have a background in B2B enterprise software. I have led and built projects from scratch before, but I think there's a bit of a knowledge gap that I have, especially with regards to payments and finances. So I'd be interested to see if anyone wants to jump in on that, see if there's any reactions to our current status.
Was the question really?
Sorry, I actually wasn't aware that we had to prepare a question. I guess a question I could ask is, I'm considering, in order to move rapidly, starting the architecture as a monolith. At what point does anyone here think I should consider splitting that out into a distributed architecture, serverless, microservices? At what point?
Anyone to answer, Rory?
I think a good point is when you plan to hire more, since you are a tech guy and you are a CTO already. So when you plan to hire more people for the tech team, I think it's a good point to think about how to split it. Maybe not at the beginning, but I think it's really important to set up the correct boundaries for each part of the system, even you are writing a monolith, because it will allow you to split it easily when you need. In my honest opinion, in my humble opinion, sorry, I think if you want to hire, let's say, 2 or 3 developers, and you want to create teams, in this point, you should consider to split the system, maybe not in really small services, but in bigger one, let's say accounting or whatever, applications, or so the teams can evolve each system isolated from each other. So you cannot assume, let's say, or move the technical depth from one to the other. So this is for me the key thing to look for.
No, that's a very good insight. Typically I would think of it as when you want to have multiple product teams being able to deliver at the same time. There's something else you've mentioned there about hiring in particular, which I think is very interesting. So thank you.
Yeah, I think as long as, I mean, it's great that the team acknowledged from the beginning that distributed architectures, microservices has a lot of benefits. It's not for everyone, but for sure, if you are creating something from scratch, the more you approach the new trends, the more I don't know, the more scalable will be the platform, right, and the product. So
yes.
Here you can start with the monolith, but if you really create clear boundaries, as Dario was explaining, and you can use this kind of hexagonal architecture, so everything is really, the domain is totally decoupled from the implementation, then it will be much easier later to build the different services, right? So not to waste extra time at the beginning integrating really small microservices and everything doing by one person. But at some point, if the code is modular enough and you are following best practices, it shouldn't be much of a pain. And especially, I think here, the most important skill is design.
Yes.
System design. I mean, not UX design, but design of the system and the data model. So this way, later on, it will be much easier to split, because I think the most difficult task when you need to split monolith to microservices is about, hey, where do we cut? Here or here?
Yes, of course.
So I think if you are thinking about that from the very beginning and you are following these best practices from the very beginning, it shouldn't be much of a pain later, as it has been in the recent years for companies that had a really ugly monolith, right? Everything mixed up and spaghetti code, right? So.
Yes. I've been reading every Martin Fowler blog on domain-driven design and trying to get it in my brain, but
then that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Fede?
Hello, everyone. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Hello.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, I was listening what Alvaro also said, and I am very agree of that, because here in FISA we have the same issue, not issue, but trying to. I am a programmer, and I like that. I try to figure out how we can do in a future a scalable product of our solution. So I think that from the very beginning, I consider that this like a web spider, a web of a spider, that you try to arrange a core that is very solid, but then you have the possibility to have add-ons in them. So you connect the API, you connect from an API, or you go there. In my case, will use Laravel. It's not a thing to do, but I know that this is scalable and all that things, and try to do the containers and all that things. But I think it's very important, because when you center in a monolith terms, then when you hire or can some developers to work, it will be more complicated to do things. That's my point of view. I don't know if it's correct or not, but
no, that's a nice yes. metaphor. The web of spiders. I think I can do something with that.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's my thought. Because you have a very core that is correctly, for example, the A and B, the thing of all the thing that the CRUD is and all that stuff. I think this is very important, and then you will have all the split things and functionality that will go there from there.
Of course, thank you.
That's my opinion.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. So give some time to the mentors too. So what comes? What questions? Does everybody really know about mentoring? The difference of mentoring, advisory, coaching,
Yeah.
angel investing?
We have one last question, so feel free to jump in. I don't know, Albert, you have not participated yet, so it would be great to have you here as well.
Yeah, I have absolutely no experience of mentoring. So one of the first questions that come to my mind is like, what skills you need to be a good mentor, right? So you need to have very deep technical skills. You need to have more broad vision of the ecosystem, or what's the really interesting skills that you need to have?
Someone wants to jump? Go, Paulo.
We have
Sorry.
Sao Paulo, so
I think I've been talking too much. Just, but I think as a mentor, there is no right solution to anything. You need to understand, try to listen and understand what's the real problem that the founder you're helping have. Just to understand if they are doing the right path. It's not about tech knowledge or whatever. I think it's more being fast in finding a smart way to help them to validate their idea, because it's not your idea. They need to learn. They need to understand their market. You can just give them some tools. And it's not about being a good tech. It's more to find the right solution at the right moment.
In this case, for kind of business advisory, for sure, when you are mentor a startup and they request your, I don't know, your tech expertise because they have the lack of that, you require different skills than if you are mentoring someone in your team. For example, I think that's really clear. There, you need the tech expertise to tell others, and you need the experience to tell others, okay, avoid that pitfall, avoid this problem, and do this, and this is the best practice right now. You can do it. Here you are the reference, and you develop the critical spirit and the critical thinking on the other side in order to say, okay, I would follow that process, this template, the resource, and you are facilitating them the work on a daily basis, right? In the case of business advisory, strategic advisory is a bit different. And I think, as Paulo mentioned, it's not about being so deep in tech, but I think it's more like a balance. Okay, you need to have a bit of, I don't know, domain expertise. I mean, you cannot advise an ad tech company, really deep tech, if you don't know what is real-time bidding, if you don't know which are the main players in the space, if you don't know how podcasting technology works, right? So that part you need it, of course, and you need some tech expertise in order. And again, is systems design. It's about, hey, which solution I would build. If it's something to last, you will need to know about databases, front and back end, so you can propose these kind of technologies in order to work on that. Propose which kind of team or which kind of budget the company can expect to have this product on the market, because the problem is that they are blind. I think mostly they are mostly blind as entrepreneurs. They don't know how much does a team cost. It's going to be a 1 person, 2 person, back and front end. I can do native mobile apps from the beginning. It's the same cost than just doing the website. So this is where your expertise comes really handy for them. This is my experience, at least. So
I think we must differentiate between a mentor and a consultant, because a mentor is trying to give you the right tool to understand how to fulfill your path, and a consultant is a consultant, is selling his skills. So as a consultant, you need more tech knowledge. But I think it's a step forward. A mentor is a little bit more like a friend that is helping you to see with another couple of eyes, and maybe some experience in a similar field.
I don't. There are plenty of definitions here. What is a mentor? What is a coach? What is a consultant? What is an advisor? There is some confusion here, but I would say that consultant walks the path, do everything on your behalf. I mean, go hands-on. The mentor kind of just advises or relies on the experience, the past experience doing the same, in order to tell you and give you some guidance here. That's, I think, more or less the difference. So when you are giving some advice or acting as a mentor, you are not going to implement. You can give some advice, but the consultant is the one that is really telling you what to do. So really saying, okay, this is what we should do, and then they may have the possibility to do it themselves. This is a consultant. When you have a CTO as a service, a consulting CTO, this CTO is going to work for your company. If you have a CTO that is your mentor, is going to tell you best practices, is going to connect you with other people. So it's going to use everything that has collected over time in order to leverage some time on you, some pain, some effort, some money, because you will go more direct to the point and avoiding part of the traps of the journey. So I think that's the main difference for me, right? So that's why for a mentor, it's just you rely on your experience. Maybe if you have, I don't know, 5 years of experience as a developer, Albert, maybe you cannot advise Revolut or Telefonica how to do a strategic approach for a new product, but you can still be helpful for an entrepreneur that is their first time in entrepreneurship, and they don't have a clue even about, okay, where should I look for a CTO, or what is the role I need to look for, or how much is going to be for me so I can prepare the business plan and I can look for the right investment, or how much time could it be to develop this kind of app, and they tell you the main features they expect or whatever. Then just with some experience as developer, you can give some numbers. If you have more experience in product and in startups, you can tell them, okay, don't build it from the beginning. You can use no code to validate, and then you can give deeper levels of advice, so they will have more and more help. But you are relying on your experience. So at the end, it's about being able to communicate clearly what you know and relying on your experience in order to deliver that advice. I think that's the most important part.
Nice, thanks.
I saw that Vitas, you had raised your hand maybe for the last.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to give 2 cents on this topic, and basically Alvaro and Paolo already answer or share the same thought. Essentially, my perception, let's say in this case, as a founder, would be, like difference between consultant and how say a mentor. In terms of a consultant, you pay for specific isolated problem to solve it, right? I need your expertise. In terms of mentoring, I would imagine something like that helps you not not be too much biased. When you get into your idea, you become very biased. You become like, a bit distant from reality. So imagine like a mentor, what already Alvaro mentioned, helping like, okay, maybe this is not the approach strategically. This is not a very good approach to this is maybe you're going to need more people than you estimated. This is going to be more challenging than you estimated, etc. So kind of a mentor, I would imagine something like this. For example, from my experience, I was couple years worked as a developer, and I had this type of mentor. It really helps me kind of not get lost in a let's say in my case was like a web development, not get lost. So imagine something like this, like it's strategic guidance. This is how I imagine mentor versus, let's say, consultant. But in a nutshell, what you guys already mentioned, I totally agree.
Yeah, Pedro, you want to end up this session with your comment?
Yes, very short. I think Jordi has said that listening is the biggest skill. But the other one between consultant and mentoring, I think is consultant is answering questions and mentoring is asking questions. The mentoring could be a great questioner or reporter or whatever. So maybe this is my 2 cents. So.
Great one, by the way.
Good one. Exactly.
Yeah, more relating mentoring more like coaching, right? You make the great question, so the person needs to find the answer because maybe he or she was not checking the problem from that angle, from that perspective, right? The difference for me between a coach and a mentor is that he's giving proactive advice. I mean, he's not just asking questions, but he's providing the expertise to say, okay, what I have seen so far is that you will find a pitfall there, or use this connection so I can help you. So then for me, mentoring is also about asking great questions about the strategy, and you have been doing it today. So Paolo, for example, has been challenging the business model of this new coding tool, right? So this is something that is expected from a mentor. It's not just like, okay, this is the way we are going to do it, which is the tech team that I need. The mentor is going one step before and it's like, why you want to do that? And then maybe you can provide suggestions like the rewarding in the hackathons or whatever, but what is the value is that you ask that question to make them reflect about what they are doing, because as Vita said, you are so biased, you are so into your business at some point, working 10 hours, 12 hours a day, that at the end you lose, I don't know, the overall side. So yeah, that's why for me it's not exactly just asking the right question like a coach, but it has this component here. So Bruno.
Yeah, just to add my 2 cents too, I believe I've been doing this for a while professionally, and not that I'm the owner of the truth, but there are 2 things that I derive from the mentor role. One is the way that you do passively, that you kind orient, you kind guide, listen, you kind think together, but you really don't really put your driving here. You don't steer the mentoring session. You kind just take off some roadblocks. And the other one that is the more provocative, the pusher, let's say, that you're really burning the mentee to think ahead, and not only with questions, but also putting hypotheses and driving them to different directions to understand what type of choices they may take after this provocation. This is something that I really put as useful tools while I'm in a session, because sometimes I can be like a shitty person just putting on fire, or I can be very cool one, say, yeah, that's good, that more here, more there, take this, take that. But when you balance both in the same session, it's pretty cool. It's kind of a very exciting perspective of.
Thank you so much for your experience as a mentor as well. Been there at Demium, seeing many projects coming in and out every single month. You had the chance to talk to many different people with different ideas, different expertises. So really valuable here. Even when it's from a business perspective, right? Not from a really pure tech perspective. You can also really guide those entrepreneurs to find their own path. Not to be really deviated from the journey, but certainly making them question why they are going in a direction or the other. So yeah, great. Guys, girls, 10 minutes out of time. I think it's time to sit down here. Thank you so much for adapting to the circumstances and making the most out of what we had here, which is a bunch of people willing to help each other. Then we created this space, safe space to ask questions, to answer, to learn from each other. So thank you so much for being so flexible. Let's see, I think we will need to assess if the speed dating will finally happen or not, but definitely that's been a great experience, and I really appreciate all the effort, especially for the mentors, because it's the part that we have been moving from Lidr. So really, thank you so much for being so participative, having so many people really involved in that, even if they have no experience, and the agendas are really, really packed, like Albert, first time trying to mentor, and brave enough to be here and say, hey, I'm sure I can give my 2 cents, right? And even without the formal training, proper training before the session. So thank you so much, everyone, and also the projects to be here with all the things that you need to deliver in Demium, especially those that are raising funds in the next couple of days or weeks. Thank you so much for this time. Now we are all connected. You have left some of the LinkedIn. You can leave yours if you have not done yet. So we create a small community. So in case the speed dating happens, great. You already know each other, know the projects. If this doesn't happen, at least you have strengthened your network, tech, business, vice versa.
And just to add, also from our side, sorry for the terrible experience with AirMeet and etc. But perhaps it's something that we get used it. At the same time, thank you very much for all the appreciation. For the tech founders that are here with us, example Mercedes, Rory, Fede, you should know more about Lidr too, about the community that they have. To put yourself also on the program with these guys, because is like full of expertise. And for sure, so we may keep following this type of events and make sure we can have perhaps a presential event in our hub to avoid a little bit of confusion in terms of platforms. But even though I really appreciate the effort of everybody to exchange and enjoy this 1 hour. So thank you once again from our side. Sorry for the misconceptions here, but at the same time, here we go. Thank you very much. Great day. Thank you.
Thank you guys to organize this event.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye.